So timestamps should exist in case you just want to skip forward, because I want to introduce, at least for 30 seconds to a minute, what we're doing here. So we're starting off a clean save with on our adventure guild, and we're gonna stick with very hard. Unfortunately, or actually, we're gonna set very hard in custom. If you didn't know, setting your difficulty and then going to custom will start it at whatever very hard, whatever difficulty you set. So, for example, if I go to easy and then go to custom, you'll note that these values are a bit different. But so 0000 minus 30, 0020. But if we go to very hard and then set it to custom, suddenly we have 0000 10 00 minus 30. So another example is 30 plus 30%, 30%, 20 0 20 negative 20 30. And this is way longer than I expected. But then now it's minus 20% to enemy health and damage, 020 0. So just a little food for thought, but we'll set it to very hard. And then we'll tweak these damage values just a little bit, just to try and make things a bit harder for ourselves. Though it's not really terrible anyway, and in fact, I'm even going to bump these down to 50%. But after that, I'm not really going to, I'm not really going to shift anything else. I won't set anything else either. I don't think there's really anything else that I would need to set. However, there are a few hard rules here. So we aren't going to skip the tutorial, even though we're going to go through the gameplay. Please watch this yourself. And I also suggest that you buy and play our Adventure Guild yourself. At the time of this video, or at least recording, it is on sale on Steam for about $8 USD, 40% off. But I am not, let me repeat that, advertising, or I've not been sponsored by anyone associated with this game. I am literally just saying that in case anyone wants to know. But without further ado, this is a game that you can literally sit for hours and play. So that's why, as I go through this point here, and I just realized that I haven't said a thing, we're gonna, each one of these videos should be pretty much an hour, and, well, I'll try to come out daily. So basically, the other way to introduce this is that, for the month of November at least, I wanted to release in our Adventuring Guild video every day. And again, I'm going to actually skip these tutorials. I wouldn't on a quote-unquote first playthrough, but in the case here, we're actually going to head out for a bit longer. So, at a certain point, I think out of curiosity, I can actually delay things here for tutorials? Question mark? But just to at least give you the kind of time it takes to go through the whole tutorial. Otherwise, I would have just skipped it and moved on. But yeah, now that we've not skipped it, I think we're going to go through the whole shebang. But it's no problem at all, because this is pretty much my third clean playthrough, as I set the battle speed for it. Also, I really should have just watched for these. So pretty much next to this hill. Although I can push the defender here up, and hey, the other way to speak about this game is that it's you can treat it like a tabletop RPG, or more specific, well, do I want to? I'm just going to say fantasy tabletop RNG and leave it at that. Although, as I open up the log here, I'm pressing the C key. You could also just press this tab over here. You are making rolls, so again, just treat it like a tabletop game that is actually a video game, and instead of just a something you play on tabletop. Oh my goodness, I did. What a great start, by the way. It's because I thought I had these bravery skills available. That's right, we don't. So now I have to live with the consequences of my actions. So, we'll do our best, but boy, oh boy. You can turn off the 95%. If you didn't know, for most skills, unless a skill is very specific, most skills have a hit accuracy maximum of 95%, and I don't remember if 5% is the minimum, but that's as low as no one cares, so that's why I'm less mad about things. But on the other hand, I don't even have attack of opportunity, so we're just gonna walk right into this archer. But in the meanwhile, yeah, I don't have the ability to increase my accuracy right now, so that just makes me sad. But otherwise, yeah, to continue explaining the game really quickly, as other things might be introduced here and there. Also, can I walk forward a bit more? No, because so I guess explain my resume so far. I've gone through New Game Plus. I'm on New Game Plus 3 on my main save. Not that I'm planning to go any further. And so if you've already reached this part of the video, I'd also like to say really quickly that if you have any ideas, if you want to change the names of any of my adventures, feel free to offer suggestions, or in terms of any builds you want to see, if you know some of Adventurers Guild. I'll try my best. Again, I am still learning. I was going to say theoretically still learning, but I mean, obviously, I only have about a few hundred hours in our Adventurers Guild, so I'm shrugging in real life as I say I am learning things, but that doesn't mean I'm completely flying blind. So really, I've gone through two full playthroughs. Oh my goodness, I can't speak. And I have pretty much an hour in a video every day. If for no other reason, then I don't think 30 minutes is long enough. So here are our RNG checks. Although we have a shovel, so we're not going to go for it because there's a very low chance that we roll a 12 or higher. On this channel, rolling a 50% is actually less. It's actually 25%, and anything between about 95% to 85% is 50-50. If you want to understand my subjective world of view, which I don't think is proven wrong, and that is built on a mathematical, on a mathematical basis. There is logic behind it because, and for those who don't understand, I'll try to explain. So basically, as this hog rushes up to me, because that's just part of the tutorial. So there's an 85% chance that something happens. Say that you have to do this 3 times. Now, you should be able to believe that most of the time you'll succeed hitting 85% 3 times in a row, whether it's hitting an attack 3 times, whether it's dodging 3 times, whether it is opening 3 locked treasure chests in a row, so on and so forth. You should be able to rely on that. Now, here again, you might say, well, 63%, that's not good, that's not bad, but for anyone who's been an ex-commander, you'll know those values are pretty not great. We also have to use a health potion. I don't think this defender here can even walk past the thief now that I've done that to myself. So, even just a little slight 10% increase. Also, I'm not moving very smartly either, but that's a me thing. Oh, goodness gracious. Well, I probably shouldn't have even shield blocked there because enemies are relatively smart. They'll go for the weaker people here. And as we resist death once, oh, buddy boy, 58%. Also because this wolf is on an elevated position, so we don't have anything else. Oh, we actually just got our accuracy boost, which I really should have used, so doesn't the tutorial introduce you to that? Anyway, we gotta push this wolf away because otherwise our mage is gonna die. And we just take this in the face again. I don't think there's much else we can do, but we can block this chokehold here. So yeah, let me just focus for a moment so that I don't end up losing a character immediately. Although we might end up losing a character immediately. Anyway, so here we find out. Oh yeah, we can run. Do I want to run? Yeah, let's run. So, if it isn't already apparent, there are squishies that we're trying to save here. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to actually save them all. So here's finding out. But otherwise, I think I still want to keep this. Yeah, I want to keep this backline this chokehold held up. Unfortunately, there's not much else we can do. So unless we can. So we're gonna have our mage sit here, and hopefully we can. Nope, we can't even do that. Well, we are gonna use a point in bravery, but we're gonna push this hog into the wolf and hope for the best. I really hope our defender survives this. We can use up supplies if we so choose. I think I even forgot to rest, but for the moment, I think we should be fine. I'm just gonna go for damage here. Defending is pretty much pointless when we can get jumped on by any of these enemies. But thankfully, they're gonna target the defender here. Now, our bravery is taking a big hit, but there's not much I can do. Yeah, there's not much I can do, so it's all up to everyone else to survive. And unfortunately, we got a dodge going. I don't know if it's going to save us, though. Oh, it should save us, because we're going to hit this wolf guarantee. Never mind. But we do get rid of the wolf. And this hog should dot out. But if it doesn't, I'm going to be very sad. Okay, good. We're hanging on by a thread. Thankfully, no one's shaken. I don't know if there's another encounter. I feel like there is, though, so that means we need to actually rest. Hey, as it turns out, a little 10% tweak here and there does hurt me quite a bit. So, you can camp to rest even further, which is going to be very, very helpful for us, because we are all suffering, or all the adventurers are suffering, because you, as the player, are playing as the guild master. However, we will creep up forward as much as possible before we rest, just in case RNG is really bad here, and you'll see in just a moment why I said that. But let's just see here. Yeah, I think we're actually going to take the healing here. It's not a lot, but gotta take what we can get. I don't think there's anything else. Yeah, so we'll just do a little healing circle here. But right after that, I don't think there's much else. I would rather up the bravery points, the BP, because bravery and BP are considered two different things. Bravery is a stat, but your BP is also called bravery points, I think. Am I going crazy? Well, either way, just consider, when I say BP, I mean BP, and when I say bravery, I mean the stat that has to do with stuff. In fact, as we get to this event in a moment, I'll just explain it quickly. So here's bravery, just to say really quickly, because some of these things can be looked over, so I might as well go over them. I only have an hour in this video. Bravery is a measure for how well an adventurer can go beyond their limit. Gameplay-wise, the higher the bravery, the more likely the adventurer survives an otherwise deadly strike. So if an adventurer's or character's HP hits 0, bravery will help out with them not permadeathing, basically. And bravery also increases the BP gain in battle by 1 for every 20 points, which, as you can see, we're not even at 20, but that's why I said BP and bravery are different. Here's the BP. It's this grayed out bar with grayed numbers. 0 to 100, and when you're at 0, you basically, or I think even at lower, just values just above 0, you can proc a status effect called Shaken, which affects you for the entire quest, and it's a very big debuff that you really want to avoid. That being said, let's say Endurance 8, Intelligence 8, Dexterity 7. Actually, it's asking for Strength, but no one really has good Strength, so we're just going to go for the Intelligence play. So, as to be expected, you're rolling with the modifier based on the character's stats, and maybe other plus modifiers, but then you're rolling a difficulty that the game tells you, so there is an over 75% chance that we barely passed of us going through and skipping this encounter. Most of the time in our adventurer guild, so even in this one, we avoid battle, and you might say, oh, we miss out on goodies, but usually passing an event and skipping battle will still reward you with something. And that being said, lockpicking chests as well, big RNG. So RNG wasn't bad in general. We didn't lose anyone, so as we return back to our guild in this fortress, we can go back to it. No retreat, we can't flee, which actually would have been bad if things went really, really badly. But otherwise, off to the game. Kind of not game proper yet, because we're still in the tutorial phase, where we're now shown our main fortress screen, which is what you'll be looking at just as much as you'll be looking at battles. Unless you're thinking during battles, then I guess that's a different thing. But aside from Fiala, who hates our guts, and us having 10 turns of injuries, we gotta recruit another adventurer. It's most likely going to be a priest, but you can do you. Again, this video is just going to open up, so I'm at least going to set up the foundations. And as I mentioned earlier, if you have any suggestions or want to challenge me in any way, I'll at least think about it, and I'll respond either in the positive or in the negative. So, wage I normally don't need to worry about, but I am going to look at these things. I obviously have looked, and I think I've mentioned in my trying to play videos of our Adventure Guild, that I did look up things here and there while I was playing, but at the same time, again, it's not like I'm going to remember every little detail that, at least is for efficiency's sake. Still though, we'll try our best. I don't know, are any percentages based on traits, do they affect the final value or the base value when hired? I assume it's the final value, right? So for example, if a character has, say, 200 HP, it's 10% of that, and not 10% of, say, when I recruit, say, Kristen here. It's not 10% of 35, and as Kristen levels up, that HP decrease just stays at 35. Small questions like this I could probably just look up here and there. Some of them don't have answers. I know that for a fact, but I could ask and just get an answer. But otherwise, we're looking for a priest. And we only have 2 priests, so we have to choose between Elliot or Kristen. For better or worse, we do need wisdom with our priest, or healer, if you want to be meta about it. But probably looking like it's going to be Kristen. 2 wisdom decrease in growth. Just really quickly, for those who don't know, might as well kind of go half and half between speaking of commentating for those who know and those who are not veterans of our Adventure Guild. So their attribute growth, basically one level up. If you're familiar with other turn-based, tile-based strategy games, I know there's a different word for them. When you level up, there is, however the value says here, so for endurance, there's a 50% chance that Kristen gets a point in endurance in leveling up. This is a setting you can change. In fact, I can probably look at it right here in the difficulty settings. But so if I hover over this, attribute gains will no longer be rolled. Attributes will statically increase according to their growth values. So while we could enable that, we're leaving everything on pretty much on default for the moment, as we're looking at everyone with 10 days of injuries, which we will just be forced to heal. But we're gonna recruit Kristen here. The stats aren't bad, but it's not obviously the most optimistic adventure we can get as we get looked down upon by Fiola. But otherwise, 2 bandages, 2 antidotes, and 2 potions of each genre. So, as we meet our merchant, hello there. We'll use our funds for this because that's what they want us to get. So 2 bandages, 2 antidotes, and actually I would like to pick up an adventurer manual. We could sell other things, but let's just stick with this for now, and we're probably just going to end up passing that manual around. So, as Falcon tells us to go into the temple to heal our adventurers and and to not have a wait time, you do take a mood decrease. So if I hover over quickly, just to explain, again, I'll go glance over these things if for no other reason than to remember myself. If you hover over the mood icon on each character, you'll get basically a rundown of what is affecting their mood. With a low enough mood, you risk losing a character, but once you know what you're doing in our adventure guild, for the most part, you shouldn't need to worry. But as you can see, I healed them, and now they take a -5 penalty for 8 days on to their mood. So yeah. And obviously you want their mood to be as high as possible, but if that's all you can get with the mood you have and the bonus that you get around your fortress, then, well, that's all you can do. So we'll do some rolling saves. Again, this is pretty much also going to be a kind of re-zero type of run, and by that I mean I didn't mean to mention the IP, but basically if we lose a character, we're loading the game. That's all I can really say. Now, to some players that might be, well, you're losing the immersion. Well, I'm also learning, so I would not advise anyone to do, well, you can do a very hard run to your own discretion, but what I'm trying to say is that, as I'm probably going to give this to the thief, is that no reason to make things harder for yourself than it already is. Period. That's the end of the sentence. I probably should take more supplies, but we're actually going to try and rush this quest. So off we go. That's bad for our experience gain, but if need be, we can wait for a moment. I would highly advise, you're not in any rush unless you set certain settings, but when you're on default, like say if you just pick a difficulty without changing any settings through the custom difficulty tweak, then you don't need to worry about time. You can let the days pass and take as long as you need and level up and prepare your adventures for as long as you need to be prepared for any quest that you might take, whether it's early game, whether it's mid game, or whether it's even late game. Otherwise, we're likely just going to be kiting a lot of enemies, even if we run into a treasure enemy, which is an enemy that has a yellow treasure chest above their head, which will grant you pretty good goodies for the current progression of where you're at. We're not going to fight them because I would highly doubt we're ready to fight such an enemy. I believe 7 dexterity. Okay, good. We would be able to reroll when you fail. I haven't really failed one of these yet, but I'll show you what happens when you do. Otherwise, so the quest here is to collect items, which means there are items sitting around the map, and you have to collect a certain number of them as shown by your quest goals. Now, I don't think there's anything to the north, unless I just completely missed it, so off we go. I was really lucky that that enemy there just turned around, and so there are 2 items. Unfortunately, this wolf is going to decide to chase us, and now there is actually a trap in our way. Critical success. So as to be expected, if you roll a 1, you will automatically fail no matter how your modifier or stats are. But if you roll a 20, you will automatically succeed no matter how low your stats are. As is often frequent for more than a fair number of TRPGs. But just in case we have to fight, I want to consider looking at things. You know, funny enough, I think I'm just going to just give a lot of BP to Rod and Lorraine, our thief and our mage. That was not respective to the their actual jobs. Rod is our mage, Lorraine is our thief. Again, I'm saying these things out loud in case anyone is watching this on mobile, and so maybe you can't read the small text that's on screen, because it would be very small on a, well, 6 to 8 inch screen, mobile screen. I assume. I don't know what your specs are, but yeah, just in case you're watching or listening to this on mobile, at least live commentary will help you out. But before we pick up this item, so we'll do a little look around just to see. However, to note, if you do get harmed by a trap, that does add a timer to your injuries. So what I mean by that, if we get an injury, I'll let you know. Otherwise, if we don't, I'll probably mention it briefly. But otherwise, we'll go back to the... Actually, we'll continue exploring. At any time after succeeding a quest, you can just hit this icon above. It's not tied to a hotkey, and complete the quest. But otherwise, let's just make sure. We could probably fight something, but then we'll end up getting injured, which is not what I want. Now, on the flip side of that, as I might as well just say something while we're autopiloting here, we're about to get sandwiched, so never mind. We're going to complete the quest. Oh, but on the other side of that, you do take a mood decrease for for adventures that leave a quest. I have not actually failed a quest because obviously that would usually involve a character dying, which means I load it. So, but assuming that even if the mood decrease was the same for failing a quest, basically you take a mood hit for a character that was on a quest. So, for example, I forgot his name, Maxwell here. Was in 2 quests, including the tutorial, I assume. So therefore, there's a -10 times 2 multiplier or modifier to his mood. So yeah, that means that we have to do something, or either wait out the mood decrease. So there's 4 days on both, because mood effects can stack. And yeah, that's all I have to say. You can wait, or you can get try to do something around the guild that will increase their mood. At the moment, we only have drinks at the tavern that we have to use 200 gold for, but again, aside from the only soft enrage, I guess, or timer you have to worry about is running out of gold, because if that happens and you run out of every single adventurer, you got to start from 0, because you obviously have to look for your adventurers again. So for the memorial, it's for characters who have died, but for characters who left, they just leave and never come back, so they might as well be dead. But otherwise, so I didn't actually look at the traits of our characters really quick, so we'll spend about a minute here. Maxwell has Healthy Body, Monocore, Eagle-Eyed, so extra accuracy, dexterity, SP regen on top of max SP, and endurance growth and endurance. But the endurance growth is what we like. Intelligence for Rod, growth and intelligence, endurance and endurance, so bright, healthy body, and well, just healthy body are all traits that have the same effect, but they affect different stats. So 30 plus into growth and +1 to the stat. But Rod also has Scared of Fire, so every time he takes fire damage, he loses BP, and then has -20 fire resistance. So resistances here, I think, are multipliers on top of damage, so to the final damage amount. So that's not good for a mage, but I do have to be wary of fire. And then for Lorraine here, she has Dubious Upbringing, which is common to rogues, so plus 30 dexterity growth, plus dexterity, +1 willpower, +3 crit. Actually has Magically Talented, but the only thing we can really get here is the +10% SP, although the intelligence growth is nice as well. And then Fast Learner, so 10 to all growths, and then gets 25% more experience. And then, as we saw, Kristen has Greedy, so 50% wage increase. Again, I'm just saying this for no one else than myself, but finds 20% more loot during quests. Scarred, so -10% HP, but +15 bravery. And then Quick, +30 dexterity growth, 20% initiative, and +1 movement. So, if I go over here just to at least go over it myself. Initiative stat dictates how fast a character acts in a turn, so when battle starts, or every round of battle, everyone rolls initiative, and whoever has the higher initiative at the very end gets to act first. And obviously, just the higher the initiative stat, the more likely they are to act first. But I don't know the exact calculation behind that, so high initiative equals, hey, you get to act first. But otherwise, we can just sit here for 4 days. I don't really mind. It's not like we have a quest anyway. In fact, we need to craft an item. So, into the blacksmith we go, where we meet Barrett, our blacksmith. But more importantly, I think we want to we want to make something for either our mage or our thief. And we can't make anything for our thief, so I guess we're making the staff for our mage. Which, at early game, you're basically making staffs for both priests and mages, but I'm pretty sure I need the damage. We can also use accessories here. So what do we have? 10 physical resistance, 10 SP. We'll give the SP to the mage, and for the thingy, we'll give it to... So yeah, Lorraine already has experience growth, so we'll just pass this book around. But otherwise, we are going to teach adventurers skills. Again, I'm not going to pretend like I know which skills are the absolute best, but I do know some that are good. And for the most part, they're probably just going to be movement skills, so that are common to each adventurer. Although I'm sure there's a reason to pick certain skills at the very beginning here, but yeah, Pathfinder, to increase everyone's movement by 1 is going to play a big difference. Except for maybe the priest. Even just playing on my own, I realized that the priest does not immediately need their movement increase. They would, however, like their healing to be a lot more effective. And then they can also take less damage, so they can become a pseudo defender as well. But yeah. So as Falcon just lets us know, or the tutorial as well, you can just skip days because, yeah, maybe you don't want to keep flooding your adventures with quests, which drops their mood all the way to the ground, in which they probably just want to leave because then they're just, well, lore-wise, they're probably like, oh, the guild master keeps telling me to go on quest, I'm just a pack horse. But as we soon get our other NPC for the guild here... actually, I need my defender. I'm too used to just sending out the thief, or sorry, everyone but our thief. Because on my main file, yes, I'm using a thief to basically just speed me past new games. But otherwise, as much as I could go on these quests, the problem... Actually, you know what? Yeah, we will. So, what gives us the most gold or experience? But both would be much appreciated. Let's go collect items. And I know I just talked about... No, never mind, we're not. I just realized. I could just give them a drink, but then we'd still have to wait. Yeah, and we can't even give them any more drinks anyway, so we just sit here and wait. Hello, Astrid? Astrid, our grumpy archer adventurer trainer who, yeah, a lot of tough love. But otherwise, yeah, we're just going to sit here. We might as well just sit here for the next 3 or 4 days. As we are, again, going through our quests. Basically, at the top right here, you see a little small text that tells you what you should be doing. If there is no small text, then you essentially just need to raise your level. Or, yeah, raise your experience at the top here so that you can upgrade your guild's renown. Hi, Emily. We can make potions here, and I think the game will tell us to make potions. So just making sure. Craft a potion, which we can't even make the health one, so I guess we'll make the mana one. And yeah, at this point, reach reputation barely known, which means taking quests and filling up our bar at the top. That being said, we have help farmers, which is going to help us survive a bit more, so we'll give that to our 3 beginning adventures and move on with life. Can we train anyone? No, we can't. While we're here, we'll set our class goals just so at least I can remember. That way, Fiora can hassle us when it's time to upgrade their classes, because that'll be important. Also have to keep in mind, so I might as well just show it with Maxwell here. So you can hover over a class and basically find its requirements. So he needs 10 strength and 12 endurance. And then what you can do is pop out to their character screen and see, okay, how many levels will it take minimum for them to reach the requirements? So in the case of Maxwell here, we need 10 strength. So 5 strength we need at a 75% chance. So maybe he actually gets to improve his class at level 8. Could take longer though, depending if I reroll. Again, you may have seen that I could reroll my stats once per level up. Yeah, it's just exactly what is advertised on the tin. You can upgrade or you can reroll the stat growths each level up once, exactly. So play the numbers, play the math, and see what happens. But otherwise, as we get our DLC trainer here, who is here for the Impaler class, not really much else to do. Again, we don't, unless I want to recruit more adventurers, I could. I probably actually should. Yeah, let's do that. We'll take a quick look because we definitely re-rolled our adventures by now. So let's find out. I don't exactly want to make a B team. I think I'm just going to stick with the A team for the sake of time. So that looks very good until we run into Sadist, which for a priest doesn't make as much sense. But if we class change Eleanor here, then maybe it's okay. But do I really want to class change her? That's the question. Otherwise, yeah, again, there's going to be enough time, definitely going to be enough time between the completion of this first run. So, you know what? Well, actually, let me just take a quick look. So if I try to class change, say, Kristen, it'll cost 300 gold. So you know what? I think we will recruit you because these traits are pretty good for me. However, do note that the traits also can have other interactions, let's just say. So, still, though, I see a lot of greens. I'm just going to monkey brain recruit. But it would be nice to basically fill out our roster. Knowing, however, that Eleanor here is going to be our... probably going to end up being a warrior instead. That leaves a few other thing. So we have a defender, a priest, a warrior. You don't need to like rainbow your party, but I'm just choosing to do so. So that means yes, last we need for our quote-unquote A team will be an archer. But I still want to recruit more people because I need to send people out to do assignments. So guess we'll take another scarred person. And since they are basically already just starting as an archer means I get to save on gold. However, yeah, the wages are a lot higher, but it's fine. And then after that, I pretty much don't care. I'm just looking for growth because anyone else I recruit is going to be for is going to be for assignments. Now, keep in mind, just really quickly, for anyone who knows, yes, you can get other characters in the middle of your run, but as for the moment here, again, we're just trying to pick up people for assignments. Am I going to even be able to properly? No. So I think gonna take a quick peek here. Well, we'll do our best. These aren't bad stat growth, so you know what, Alan, we will take you, and hopefully we take one more. Unfortunately, drunkards have been really bad RNG for me, so we'll take the next best thing. We'll take at least one more, that I know for sure. So no dexterity, but I would actually like to take a knight or a defender instead. Unfortunately, Desmond with 20 dexterity is not so great for me, but we'll see. Again, gonna take a quick peek. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna just take Slade here instead. So, our wages are all increasing, but it's all for the sake of basically rotating a lot of assignments. That's essentially what I'm trying to do. Now we actually unlocked, I think, are these unlocked based on the number of adventures you have in your guild? But anywho. I think I would rather go gather resources, so, oops, not Amelia. This should be Alan and Slade, although I can just send out Amelia just to level her up quickly. Question mark? No. Never mind, I lied. So we'll just send you guys out 68%, and off we go. Actually, I could have just had them train, but too late now, so. Isn't there someone else? Yeah, so only give me those who can. Never mind, we can't even train. I'm going absolutely insane. So we just sit here and wait for a moment. So, class change to knight. Now, I think they always, never mind, I lied. I lied to myself. So we actually need to make weapon and armor for her really quickly. So, great sword, just mainly gold, and heavy armor, which is going to be an iron breastplate. Otherwise, when you recruit an adventurer, they obviously come with this equipment themselves. But yeah, in the case of a class change, yeah, they're not just going to give you the equipment. So, but then we're waiting for our 3 main people. But as we get Magicka here as our next trainer, yeah, we pretty much have our party. Basically 2 to 3 frontliners, Thief probably being in front line, depending if Kristen, we're not just going to plop Kristen in front as well. And then we have Amelia and Rod in the back, theoretically speaking. That being said, we can just send them out as well, yeah, because we're already waiting on the other 3 to kind of recover their mood anyway. In fact, with this assignment, their mood is going to drop once more, because assignments drop your mood by 5. But, yeah, we have time to rate. That's all I'm trying to say. So we did the payments. I accidentally did it. And we failed because RNG. So, whoopsie doopsie. There goes my thing. Hey, it's Rogue, our lovable question mark thief. But let's see what we can do here. So all we have is time off. You know what? I might as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One of the few assignments where you can at least rest, or your injuries will heal during which. And yeah, we kind of just sit here. So in a way, we are losing money per day. But again, it's better than running into issues later, as we get our next DLC trainer in a moment. But I think, yeah, unless we get our next rotation. Again, I don't mind our wages even increasing to 400. We should be able to handle that. But yeah, we'll see. As Nora comes up next. Hello, Nora. She has a connection with Eden. I'm not going to try to spoil things. Again, I'll go through it myself. But yeah, we take injuries there because injuries, that was solved long ago. I just am not... I'm not cycling through the logs there. So... And yeah, so as their mood shoots up to euphoric, and they now have, so the base, basically the mood, I mean, it says on screen, but in case you can't read it, so mood starts quest at X BP, depending on the mood. So for euphoric, you start at 75 BP, which is the max you can get. Yeah, that's all I have to say. So Eleanor, do we just give... I think we just give you the basic techniques, right? Because everyone... You want to at least start with your techniques? That would probably be for the best. Actually, I don't know why I did what I just did, so let me just make sure. Yeah. So while I could give Eleanor movement, I'm just going to instead give her the techniques. That way she can at least use warrior skills. But right after that, we're going to roll our saves really quickly. And off we go. To a quest. So, probably gonna do explore area, especially if we're gonna get a lot of resources from it. So I do want to craft. I'm not often crafting as much as you, the viewer, may think. Also, I just realized that's right. We are locked to 4 slots, so this is going to be the party. Do I want to No, I don't. Actually, no, I don't. I was gonna say, do I want to replace either Rod or Lorraine with Eleanor or Amelia? And the answer to that question is no. So basically, Eleanor and Amelia are going to be sitting in the back for a moment until we can add more to our party, which is not going to happen anytime soon, but we'll do our best. So, did I want to put someone else in front instead? No. The game automatically put Thieves in front, but for good reason. Thieves will soon be able to not have to worry as much about being targeted. And that's all I have to say. So, explore 75% of the map. Again, I can rush this as well, and by rushing this, I mean I can try to avoid as many enemies as possible. I see a sword on the ground. I don't think we're actually going to go for it. We actually succeeded that, but let's also get some resources while we're here. That worm decided to go that way, so... Oh my goodness, what is this worm doing? Please keep going south. I think for the most part, enemies will just continue moving in the same direction until they either spot you, or or they hit something along their path, whether it's a trap or a wall, so on and so forth. Although I swear I've seen them kind of walk past traps here and there, but that's a different thing to worry about. So, as you've noticed, these maps aren't large yet, but that's because these are the easy versions in which you're not supposed to stress too much about exploring a map, which is also appropriate, that's the word I'm looking for, appropriate for your likely first time, but really your adventurer's stats at the moment. Because if I hover over this for a second, your stamina is determined by the cumulative sum of the endurance stats of all present adventurers. So actually, we'll ignore this for a moment. All that you need to worry about is that if you run out of stamina, you really don't want to run into a battle. So let's continue exploring. So I didn't even need to use the thingies, but do I get to sneak over and grab more things before I get caught? I could just camp here, but let's just refund. I don't know if it's an exact refund of the cost of the supplies, but if it's not, well, I'm going to learn something new. But otherwise, off we go. So yeah, Future Jordan has to figure out how he's going to timestamp this video, because boy, oh boy. And I'm not saying that as a weird third-person thing. I'm like, that's literally accurately, I have to figure out later on how to timestamp, if I want to timestamp. But as we get arguments in the tavern and everyone loses mood, that's not great, but we'll do our best. Actually, that's everyone who wasn't inside, right? Yeah, everyone who wasn't on quest, I believe. But otherwise, if we have more assignments, we're gonna prioritize Eleanor and Amelia, obviously. But as you can see, we don't even have 100% sending all of these adventurers. So again, we're just going to try and recruit adventurers for the sake of completing assignments. You shouldn't need more than 20 to 24 adventurers if you're just trying to keep things small. For the sake of the whole game, so just your little, I guess, kind of spoiler thing, but it's not really as much. Yeah, not really much else to say. Although, again, I would like defenders if possible. Usually, defender stats, which are strength and endurance, are what are asked for assignments and their success rates, but if I can't get them, I'm not really going to be too strung up about it. But yeah, usually for me, it's warriors and defenders. But if anyone else shows good growth, either through traits or just their growths in general, hey, that's fine. But I don't think anyone comes with like base growths, right? Like they don't have their own base growths below their class growth affinities and whatnot. And if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. If you don't worry about it. I'm just kind of talking to myself. But anyway, so we can just head out on a quest immediately. Usually I like to space quests out every 2 days-ish for the sake of mood, because that's kind of the schedule, or that's, how do I want to say it? It's good for that. Now we are being pressured though, because the Missing Sun, especially if I want to get a character, is good for getting a character that will likely help us out immensely on a run like this. But otherwise, I think what's actually going to happen is I'm going to recruit that character, but nothing's going to come from it, because they're going to be used for assignments mainly. But, I mean, again, doesn't hurt to get someone who actually will provide a lot more value on average, right? The only downsides that I can possibly see to most characters that are given to you, that can be given to you by the game, is that they come with skills that are unique to them. And unfortunately, that means that's less skill points that they can use for actually class skills, if that makes any sense. Not that you're usually taking it. So, I mean, it's usually going to be better to take a character's own unique skills anyway, and you'll understand what I mean if I get to it this video. But otherwise, yeah, you don't particularly need to... We're going to get sandwiched here, so we have to fight. Unless we choose to run, but we'll see. Yeah, but usually getting those characters is good for your run. It's just that I picked the 6 characters I picked already, unless you tell me that, hey, you want to see certain things. So, we're actually going to permanently hide taller objects. I don't actually want to do that. So, what is our choke point that we're going to decide here? Probably up the middle? No. Probably to this... it doesn't matter either way. Yeah, it doesn't matter either way. But I don't want Lorraine to go in front. So what we're going to do is push left to the west here. We will actually have Rod hit this bandit that stepped forward first because he moved first. But otherwise, yeah, we're going to have Maxwell step in front of Lorraine just to make sure we don't get hit, which is what would have happened if we put Lorraine where Maxwell is right now. Otherwise, we can take the high ground and we'll go for some plays. Now, we're not very likely to do chain attacks, but it's fine for the moment. I also don't want to put Lorraine in front, so we're just going to throw knives from the back. And yeah, we'll have Maxwell try to take all of the aggro here. Now, unfortunately, someone's going up for Kristen, but that should be fine. I'm going to gamble here. Okay, good. 95%. I usually don't like to do more than 195% gamble per encounter, but you never know, right? Bad things can happen at any time. So, yeah, there's not much I can do here, but I'm not really afraid of taking a gamble as I rolled a 99, so literally nothing I could do to stop that aside from increasing my own accuracy. So that was really oof. Now that being said, we also blocked at 95%, so I guess it's even. It's not, but we'll do our best. If this crits, that would be nice. That would make up for the bad RNG. Unfortunately, that's not what happened, so instead sadness happens. We're just going to try to finish off this bandit here before Kristen gets smacked here. Because now that I've lured this bandit over this ridge hill over here, unfortunately what's going to happen is that even if I have Kristen retreat, that bandit might just well end up coming up behind Rod and smacking him in the side. So we don't want that either. So yeah, if anyone has to get hurt, it might as well be the priest. But right after that, obviously I would prefer a defender to take the hit instead. But while Kristen is sitting up here, we might as well have her just tank those attacks anyway. A bleed would be nice, because that would guarantee the 2-turn here, so I can kind of just leave that bandit alone now. We still have to deal a bit of damage, but that damage can come from Kristen here. Never mind, we missed 95%. It rolled 100. Do you see what this on screen by now? What a great introduction to the channel if anyone's new and decided to say, hey, Jordan, who's this guy named Jordan who's this guy named Jordan who's playing our adventurer guild? Well, you're getting your explanation right here. No way we missed 2 more twice, so I'm just gonna bet the hog here and move on with life and try to gamble on as many 90% as possible. Because at this point, yeah, so the main thing I'm thinking of right now is that Kristen and Maxwell have taken injuries. That's kind of fine, especially if it's only for 2 days, but it could as very well be for like 5 days. So we'll find out. So this will complete the quest, but we're going to continue our exploration because we might as well try to use up our stamina. And if we decide to camp, hey, because on that note, camping will allow us to, as we just make sure that we can do a thing. Can we even do this? Nope, we don't have enough strength, so never mind. We just take, oh, we're all sad now. But as we get a crit there, so we didn't even get a chance. Maybe we got a crit success, but that being said, locking something out like that isn't really bad either. Am I going to be in trouble? No. So walk up just to get that wood there, and off we go, exploring the rest of the map. Yeah, so the good thing about camping is that there obviously, if you haven't already seen, there are things you can do, basically buffing yourself. Ow. Buffing yourself so that you're more powerful from the next encounter you run into. And so a really common thing to note here, for as an example, is that so if I don't rest here, especially, well, assume I had stamina, then we're just entering battle with like 75 BP across the board. But if I rest, maybe I can increase someone's BP to like 85, 95 while taking a buff that, say, increases Maxwell's physical resistance by 20%. So therefore, we're a lot stronger in that instance than in the former instance where we don't decide to recover or camp at all. But again, that's obviously offset by the fact that maybe you're doing a longer quest, and so you want to camp more often, so you have to decide if you want to camp now or later. But in this case, since we've kind of gone around the map and done what we needed to do, we can already just quit the quest, or complete the quest. Quitting would imply that we failed the quest, but we succeeded, so hey. But yes, otherwise, as we continue onward here, so yeah, 5 days, 4 days of injury, so all things considered, we might just end up having them do a thing. So here, leveling up really quickly, and now if you set a class goal, you can at least hover over here just to see what you need. We need Maxwell to increase his strength, and that's primarily what I'm looking at. We can only, say we only get strength increase on top of 1 point of endurance, because if you're at 100% in stat growth, you're guaranteed a point. But anything after that may get you an additional point. That's the whole theory behind this. Now, we failed 75% twice. And now we move on, I guess. That was really unfortunate. I actually do want Maxwell to become a defender as soon as possible. That being said, for High Mage, not as much of a problem. Wisdom and intelligence for Rod, at least, are at 100%. So that means at the earliest, we can have Rod become a High Mage in about 3 levels. And I think exactly 3 levels. But otherwise, 12 experience off from leveling up. But let's pass this book over to Rod and continue moving. Again, I'm not worried as much as about Lorraine, because Lorraine has Fast Learner, which improves her experience growth by 25%. As for Kristen here, see all the requirements for Bishop: 10 intelligence, 12 wisdom, and as you can see here, neither wisdom nor intelligence are guaranteed to us. However, in this instance, I would rather have wisdom at least increase once, because intelligence has a lower requirement, especially based on the values we have here, to change classes. So yeah, I think we might just enter the next quest even if they're injured, so we'll give them at least a day, but then we also have assignments. I think there's a lot of training assignments. So we'll take a look here. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be very likely at the moment. And that's perfectly fine. So let's just see. So a time of meditation for Eden, give that to your priest. What are our odds? 70%. Might as well, we're resting here, and again, if the assignment does not specifically say adventurers will not heal during this assignment, then they can heal their injuries while they're doing the assignment. Now, unfortunately, that's the case here, but we're not having anyone train with Falcon. We do, however, want Rod to train with Magicka. So, and then again, I think anyone can literally take Siran here, but because Rogue and Thieves go hand in hand, we'll do that. Otherwise, so you'll notice there's not really a defender option. Falcon would probably be the closest we have to that option. Unfortunately, he doesn't allow me to heal, but I guess it's more important to get start cycling these trainers. Period. That's all I have to say. You'll also notice that I have not really... So I haven't mentioned anything about the Spearman/Impaler classes, but for good reason, because I haven't even touched the DLC pretty much. And I haven't even ascended the tower. I've done one ascension to like level 30 in one shot, but that's pretty much it. So, Astrid goes hunting. We want to give that to Amelia. 67%, but so be it. And last but not least, so we want to give, if Falcon comes back again, we want to give that to Eleanor here. But while we're waiting, we might as well just have Eleanor train with Saran. Shrug, that's all I have to say. And safe hunting to the rest of our adventures here. At this point, we shouldn't need to really worry about their mood so much, but if so, we'll see. It says complete, so I assume that everyone did their assignment successfully. So Maxwell got Falcon buff, Lorraine got Rogue buff, everyone else got their buffs, Kristen got Eden's buff, and yeah, off we go. So just out of curiosity here, willpower and dexterity. So we're not guaranteed willpower, but it's a very good chance, and all we're looking at is that, and then dexterity will definitely hit its mark. So at the earliest, Lorraine will be able to become the assassin class, I believe it's called, at level 5. I just calculated it in my head, and I forgot. I probably want to consider giving them a drink, but because I'm not really using their mood much, I guess it doesn't really matter so much. Well, yeah, we'll give them a bit longer of a rest. There is time off again, but we still have the paid vacation buff. So this, in case anyone was curious, the I got paid vacation buff applies to the time off assignment. We're also, that's right, we're losing days, so we'll take a higher quest here and preferably explore area. I realize, yes, it is very likely that, just making sure I'm doing this correctly, it's very likely that doing a quest, especially one that's eliminate enemies, will just grant me more experience if for no other reason than by nature of fighting enemies and defeating them, you get experience and loot on top of that. But for the safety of our adventures, safety-wise, if you can kite enemies on the map well enough, then for at least real-time sake as well, it is nice. Also, I don't think we can pull this sword out. Ferdinand, though, this is a really important thing to do, however, so it would be interesting to do. 10 strength, never mind, we can do it. Preferably, we'd give this to our knight, but our knight is not with us, so instead, funny enough, the thief is the one with more strength before the defender. So Ferdinand's just going to stay on our inventory. He's a very good sword for when you pull him out on your first playthrough in your run, but yeah, again, until we can have, I think it's Eleanor, no, Eleanor? Eleanor is our knight? I'm going crazy. I'm already mixing up the names. I should really name them myself. Again, if you have any suggestions for names, please let me know. That's your reward for listening so long. That's my suggestion. That, hey, you can name my characters, or the adventurers that I'm playing with. But otherwise... So yeah, this is an exploration. All you have to do is reveal the map. So not really too much of a problem on smaller maps, unless you just get boxed in by enemies, as you are kind of seeing here. But otherwise, we're going to continue exploring just to try and sneak some more resources. In fact, I should probably have... Nope, never mind. Now we have to kite both of these enemies. So the space key on our keyboard is what allows us to basically wait. It still uses up 5 stamina, but as you saw here, it doesn't really matter because we ran into an encounter. In fact, we probably just have to run away from this. So L-E, 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 and hope for the best. If we can't, well, bad things are going to happen. In fact, I'm even just going to cast lightning here at least, but then we're still going to try to run. And Maxwell is definitely the slowest adventurer here, but we'll do our best. We're going to push just to see, but we're still going to continue escaping. I'm sure there's some calculation going on where, yeah, I think we're going to have Lorraine plug this hole here. Yeah, I'm sure there's some dexterity thing to note, but also note that any damage or any enemies you eliminate does carry into another if you run to them again. So it's not like their HP resets, but again, obviously as you saw there, the cost of running away is that everyone loses 10 BP. But I didn't want anyone to get injured. That's why I did what I did. So we're just going to leave this quest and move on with our lives. Again, though, if you want everyone to get more experience and get more loot, however, gameplay time-wise, it is to your benefit to fight encounters. Now, obviously, there's still a trade-off, because if an adventurer is injured for too long, then obviously you don't want to send them out into a quest if there's a risk of them dying, pretty much. That's literally dying. So, probably better rooms first, because as much as the training would help everyone else, party size as well, but I'm gonna take actually party size and then better rooms. So don't need to take traveler's backpacks yet because I am not making use of them. But I guess the last quest. So I said about an hour. That's not a strict limit. And I just realized that we did a thing, so I actually might need to sell items, but I don't mind selling our accessories. You will usually have more accessories than you know what to do with. So, just to make sure... Actually might end up selling something else instead. Probably not probably not our thingamajiggy. So water skins, bombs, and funny enough, they asked us to buy bandages, but probably might end up just selling those two when needed. But otherwise, let's sit here, and we do need to do the thingy. Do we get to do it? I guess. I'm not sure. I don't know how much time we have left, so I'm going to roll this save. But still, I'm just going to play it safe. So, we have to wait here. I was about to say, what's going on? How come? Usually when an NPC is available, then you can't move on to the next day. So we might as well do this. Alyssa will be a good addition to our guild, even if I'm not going to be using her. Unless you tell me that you want me to use her. And the same, what am I want to say? The same words go to any character I might pick up later on. So do let me know. So 5 days remaining, so we can afford to send them to time them off, funny enough. And we'll do the whole hog here. But right after that, so yeah, 5 days, so we'll have enough days to do this. Are we going to be ready? We should be. It looks like we are. We're actually barely going to be at level, so I'm a little bit scared. But otherwise, hopefully no one oofs themselves right before I need to do a thing. So new week. It says new side story available, but that's more like lore. And yeah, I know Fiola, I'm going to take care of it in a hot moment. Everyone just needed to rest so that I can have them at their best mood when we go into here. So, we are going to send a level 1 Eleanor into this quest, if for no other reason than to get a level up, but we're also going to pass her the book. And I'm going to hope we survive. Let's find out. Usually, funny enough, I do like to give hit points to whoever's taking damage. So actually, you know what? This goes to Kristen. But who would need the accuracy? Probably our mage here. Never mind. We're giving our mage the magic attack. And then we'll take these potions with us. So, do note that I also could have just given... I could have just sold some of these items as well, but as you can see, they don't sell for much. Pretty much 10 gold, because it's half of what is displayed on the item. I won't bring keys. I don't normally use keys like that. Also, I just realized we don't have enough gold to take provisions with us in case we need to rest, which will be important. So, yeah, we're going to sell some stuff. And if for some reason we don't have enough, we just don't have enough of anything, then so be it. We'll do what we can with the characters we have. We do want to put Lorraine in the back here, though. Or, sorry, Eleanor in the back. She's not going to be able to survive for long. Not on very hard plus difficulty. I won't call this nightmare because all I did was tweak things a little harder. So I'd call this very hard plus. I'm on a very hard plus difficulty. And in fact, Future Jordan should probably call that the video title. But anywho. So Wisdom 14. Gotta hope for the best. Okay, good. I would have re-rolled that with BP. And then if we failed like 2 or 3 times, then sadness. I think we can take this. So I've played this quest a few times. I still do like to rush, but I do know you can kind of spend a little bit kind of gathering things here and there. Now, that being said, I don't know why I gathered wood, because I don't particularly need it, but I do know I don't want to gather everything too much. So, we are going to dance around this thing. We thankfully succeeded there. So our RNG has been pretty good this video. But funny enough, so you'll notice this bandit chasing me isn't acting like most other enemies would. And by that, I mean they follow me every single turn I move or wait. So and interacting with things on the map doesn't... interacting with items or events on the map does not have enemies move, basically. I just realized I probably had skill points and I didn't take them. Well, do any of these charge? No, they just attack and apply bleeding, right? Yeah. So we're gonna do a thing here. So unfortunately, our thief doesn't get to move much, but I'd rather fight from atop of this here. In fact, we might even shift everyone over to the right, if possible. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to help me much either, but we'll do our best. And this Bird Bowl leader is the one that's scaring me the most. So, yeah, we'll do our best. I would like to get rid of the ads first, and by ads I mean anything that's not a harder enemy to defeat, but they're not really giving me a choice. So, what I can do is push this back. Here's my 95% gamble. And yeah, Eleanor is not really prepared. I'll have Eleanor peek out afterward. But otherwise, I do actually instead want to lure anyone up into this area. Yeah, so, because if I moved, yeah, unfortunately, funny enough, having faster initiative there actually hurt me. But otherwise, we can at least get rid of bleeding, which is because we didn't take movement. That's why I didn't take movement with our priest. And instead took healing, because if you know, I mean, I can show you here right after this turn. Also making sure I'm targeting things right. But, so the skill I took here was a passive skill, improved healing. Healing effects are 20% stronger, but they'll also remove bleeding, which, hey, as you've seen here, these enemies can apply bleeding. So we're saving a lot more HP by being able to remove that. We're going to push it away again. This time I'm going to use bravery points. But basically, once I get past this enemy, we should be good to go. In fact, if this is how they're going to be, because actually I could throw, the defender wants to be surrounded by at least 2 units, because then they can stun 1 unit and then push back the other with the 3 turns they have, assuming they don't need to move, but that's a different thing to worry about entirely. Again, we're just going to play it safe here and have the defender take the blow. I won't position anyone differently, because if I do, I'm afraid that they get hit. That being said, if we can attack something, we might as well attack it. But otherwise, yeah, as the Bird Bowl leader... Nope, that's right. It's going to charge at me. I forgot that it has that. So yeah, the skill that the Bird Bowl leader has over the just regular Bird Bowls is that it has a charge. And what that means is, as it sees here, I'll explain it in case you can't see, but yeah, it can charge up to 5 tiles for it, if I'm reading that right. And then apply bleeding. Yeah, that's all I have to say. So we're still going to focus the leader, because that's the main problem we're having at the moment. But, so yeah, this Bird Bowl is going to start pressuring our priest, and actually it pushes us back, question mark? That really can do that? I didn't read the skills at all. Yeah, moves the target 1 tile away from the caster or until interrupted. And if he moves 1 tile away but there's no spot, basically the target takes extra damage, and if there's something behind, if it's an ally of that target, they take damage as well. But otherwise, the other part of that, as I actually move Maxwell down, so that I can do a shield bash here. 75%. Yeah, you take extra damage basically. So if I had, say I used Maxwell to, push the Bird Bowl leader, and behind the Bird Bowl leader, directly behind them, was another Bird Bowl, the Bird Bowl will also take damage. That's all I'm trying to say. And I forgot at this level, I think it's level 4, I don't remember. But now we can take extra turns, though we don't need it at the moment. Because again, I'm just being really safe. That being said, I think now, I forgot his name. Sorry, Rod. Rod also now has to take days to heal, but that's less of a concern if I'm worried about a character dying, pretty much. But yeah, now that we just have Bird Bowls left, we should be okay. I really should not have Rod behind Kristen anymore, but it's a bit too late. So we're gonna actually attack this Bird Bowl, but then we're gonna retreat back up to this hill. And in the meanwhile, you know what? Funny enough, we will push this Bird Bowl. Oops. In front of Maxwell. Again, giving you a play-by-play in case you just want to listen to me, because for whatever reason. Do I want Eleanor in front? No, let's put her back behind. Ferdinand is also giving us quite a good amount of damage, but as Lorraine bleeds here, we also get a crit. That's going to make things a lot faster. I think what we're going to do is position Maxwell differently. And as you see there, so when a character is attacked and whenever they lose HP, basically going under 50 HP, their bravery or their BP will also decrease because they're starting to get scared of, they're getting closer to danger. Their life is closer. their life is in danger, and so they're scared of dying, basically. So yeah, you are penalized for not keeping your characters topped up. However, if you have to make a tactical decision, as I accidentally blocked for some reason, then yeah, 85%. We rolled 100 on 85, so literally a critical failure. But anywho, funny enough, we can't surround this bird bowl, so I'll have Eleanor peek out just a little bit here. But otherwise, again, getting rid of this bird bowl should be easy work, but you never want to let your guard down because bad things can happen. I should have really had Kristen heal Maxwell here, but since his bird bowl just wants to keep bullying Kristen, then whatever, it's fine. So we'll push you into probably Maxwell, but at this point we should be good. Also, yeah, not getting that stun really hurt me a little bit, but you know what? So be it. 95% was not, it wasn't exactly 50-50, but it wasn't great either. Also, again, quick thing to note, the more characters you have in your party, the basically experience does get spread amongst the whole party. So if I say got 1,000 experience for a battle, then everyone here would get 200 experience. But as we pick up a young man and he's really hurt, we have a priest with us, so we don't need to use a potion. We'll have Kristen heal this person, and we will complete the quest. Easy, question mark? Easy 3,000 experience. All things considered, I probably am a little prepared at least for making the run harder, but I guess we'll find out. Those who are veterans at our Adventure Guild, the game, as we are closing out this video here, will probably have more things to say. But yeah, without further ado, we'll complete our level up here as we are introduced to the boy we saved, Elon. He can die there, as happened in my very first playthrough, but we will be taking him because he has growth skills that will at least have him be good for assignments. So, without further ado, yeah, let's level up here. Again, keep in mind Maxwell needs strength to increase at least. Getting an extra point of endurance would help out, but that would be more for vanity's sake. Endurance, just in general, would help out. I realize how precious endurance is as a stat, but otherwise, yeah, getting stats for what we need to upgrade their classes. I actually forgot, because I was supposed to set your goal tonight. Just reminding ourselves really quickly, yeah, strength 12, endurance 10, so flip the defender around, and that's what they get. But otherwise, here, just making sure we did not set Amelia's class here, which is Ranger, so Strength 10, Dexterity 12. And as you saw, since we didn't get our Strength up, let me just do some calculations. So we'll need 5 Dexterity and 6 Strength. So yeah, we're going to reroll here. We didn't get Strength, and in fact, we lost more points in Dexterity. But we're likely to get an extra point anyway, so you know what? All things considered, it's still fine. But yeah, without further ado, let me just put this so that I can remember things. But yeah, without further ado, if you have anything to say, any questions, comments, concerns, as we're sitting on 10 days of injuries for Kristen, please let me know. You know what to do. And if you don't want to support me, or if you do want to support me, you also know what to do. Not going to take up too much more of your time. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye!